Hello everyone, my name is Brendan Snyder. Thank you so much for joining me and welcome to another episode of New Music Finds. This one, episode number 50. I can't believe we're already at 50. Been doing this nearly a year at this point, right? 2 more episodes, we'll be at 52 for a year. But this is where I collect together all the different new music that I purchased over the past week and then present it to you. And of course, I get it from different places like my local record stores and online retail like Amazon, eBay, and more. And you guys have seemed to be enjoying this. We're going to keep doing it. I have a lot of fun showing you guys what I get. Hopefully you also enjoy seeing all this stuff and it gives you some great ideas of things to go out and find yourself. For this past week, I've got 8 new music finds to review with you. 4 of these are new releases, 3 of them from my local record store. I made a trip there, and 1 box set to go through with you. So before we dive into this though, if you are new to my channel and you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please click the button. Also leave a comment, hit like, all those things help support my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And of course, as an added bonus, by subscribing, you'll be able to stay up to date on all that's going on in the world of music, just like this, with New Music Finds, episode number 50. All right, so kicking things off as we normally do, we start with brand new releases. And in this case, January 28th, this past Friday, we had 4 new releases come out. Probably the big one on everyone's book was this, the brand new Jethro Tull, the Zealot Gene. This thing here really surprised me. It turned out to be a fantastic album. For the most part, I have to say, that's what I've heard from everyone, that they really have enjoyed this. It surprised them. This is their 22nd studio album. Now, it's also been over 2 decades since the last all-new studio album, which was jtoll.com in 1999. So 23 long years between that album and this one here. This one featuring an all-new lineup on it, and so it is bringing over a lot of the people from the Ian Anderson band into this lineup here, but I think this thing here really sounds like Jethro Tull. I think it has more of a Jethro Tull leaning than Ian Anderson. That was my biggest concern. This would just sound like another solo album. So if you've been on the fence about that, definitely go check it out. I do think this album here is definitely worth checking out. I've been enjoying it a lot, and I know a lot of you guys have too because you've left good comments on it. Now, another one that was maybe even bigger for me than most people out there, and I love getting that Jethro Tull, but it was this. Brand new Steve Vai. I'm a big Steve Vai fan. I love what he does. Inviolate, 10th studio album from him. This one here got 9 tracks on it. And so this one here really surprised me as well. Kind of what I would have expected from this being his 10th studio album, and also it's been a decade since his last album of all new material. So he had put out Modern Primitive in 2016, but that was reworkings of songs from the late 80s. The last all new album was The Story of Light in 2012. Here we are a decade later. So in getting this here, this has a different feel to it, as does a lot of Steve Vai albums. And this one here has some good rock tracks on it, but it is not as heavy and rockin' as some of his other ones are, or some of the individual tracks that have made up past albums. This one here has a really good sort of even flow to it all the way through. Of course, there's plenty of peaks and valleys and a lot of character and interest in what he's doing. But I have to say that from start to finish, there's not a bad track on it. It all feels like it goes together. There isn't one thing that sticks out from everything else that's on it. So this is a very consistent, very solid, really good album. I highly recommend it if you're a fan of Steve Vai ever in the past or whatnot, but good stuff. And a lot of interesting new techniques and things that he's doing on it. That's something that he's talked a lot about. If you go to his YouTube channel, you can watch different clips and things where he'll actually explain what those different techniques are on the different songs. One on Candle Power, he's done a video on Knapsack. That's a really interesting one. If you look that one up and you watch his explanation about that, because he plays the entire thing with his, I guess, left hand, right? And he doesn't use the right hand because he had had surgery on it. He couldn't use it. So he wrote an entire song where he just uses the left hand on it. And due to what the sling that his arm was in, which was called a knapsack, that is how the song got its name. But there's a whole bigger, deeper story with all of that, so you still could go check out. It's an 18-minute long video, but it's really quite interesting. All right, moving on. So another one, and this one just came today. I just opened it before this video to throw it on and take a listen to it, and I'm enjoying it immensely. Keel Band, Keeled. So this thing here, cool, it's only a little cardboard sleeve, unfortunately, but we still get a physical pressing of it, which is nice. It's an EP, so it's got 3 Keel songs that have been reworked, and then it's got 1 live medley of 3 songs. It's about 21 minutes, give or take. It's EP length kind of a thing, but it's good. You know, Keel Band is more in the southern rock vein than Keel was, which is more in the metal vein. So the Keel Band doing this and calling it Keeled, which is kind of interesting, they do it up in the more southern rock way. It still very much sounds like the Keel songs that we know and love. In fact, the tracks that are on here are The Right to Rock, Here Today, Gone Tomorrow, and Tears of Fire. And then the medley, Because the Night, Somebody's Waiting, and Calm Before the Storm. And that was recorded live in Australia. But that I was really surprised about. Again, good. And mine was listed as being back ordered for a while, and I didn't even know that it had shipped. And I got home today and opened the mailbox, and I was kind of like, well, what's this? I didn't expect this. And it was such thin packaging that I didn't even think there was a CD in it, kind of a thing. I was being very careful tearing into it because I was afraid if it was a cardboard CD like this, you could damage it, right? But lo and behold, everything was good. Turned out to be the Keel. So today got even better just getting that in the mail. I'm sure you guys are the same thing. You get something in the mail and it's just like, yes, right? Okay, one last new release to talk about here. Praying Mantis, Catharsis, 12th studio album from them. And so I really enjoyed Praying Mantis in the past and their last few releases that they've done. This one hasn't yet connected with me. I will say this, when the first time I played it, it didn't do much, and I listened to it twice and I kind of put it aside, and then I put it on a day or two ago, and it sounded a lot better. So I'm kind of just thinking it might be one of those things where I'm not quite in the mood for it, because I have really enjoyed what they've done in the past. Not just the classic, the new wave of British heavy metal stuff that they did back in the early, 1980, 81, whenever that was, and then when they got back together in 1990. But with this lineup here, the last 2 or 3 albums that they've done together, I've really enjoyed. So I think this one's gonna grow on me. Not saying anything against it, but it is interesting how that can happen sometimes. And I've heard that from you guys too. You'll say, wow, this album I didn't like it, it doesn't work for me, kind of things. And I always say, you know what? Put it aside, give it a listen in another few weeks or a couple months or whatever. You never know. It may totally grow on you, and I totally think that's what's gonna happen here. All right, now I had filmed a video about the top 10 ladies of the 80s rock albums, and people cried out, where's Pat Benatar? Pat Benatar is not part of this, and so forth. And I explained a lot of that being just, I'm a fan of Pat Benatar, but I only own the greatest hits. And then people were like, oh my God, you don't own any albums by Pat Benatar. All right, I've rectified it. I bought this box set, a classic albums thing from Pat Benatar, 5 albums in it, and you get them in these little kind of sleeves and so forth. And all of her albums are being reissued by Universal Japan in these cool Japanese issues and remastered and everything, cool packaging. And I was going to do it, but each of those are $16.99. This was 20 bucks to get 5 of these, so I opted to do this. Now I can always go and do that later, but this has In the Heat of the Night from 1979, Crimes of Passion 1980, Get Nervous 1982, Tropico 1984, and Wide Awake in Dreamland 1988. Now maybe those 5 are her most popular, but I really kind of don't like it when these box sets jump past certain albums. So it skips over the 1981 album Precious Time. That's not included in this, and 7 the Hard Way from 1985 is not part of this. They chose 5 albums around those to group in here. So Universal Japan is reissuing both Precious Time and 7 the Hard Way, so I will be buying those as the Japanese import albums that they are through Amazon, which fortunately Amazon is importing it, meaning I don't have to wait for Japan, to ship it over 2 months and all that sort of stuff. So there you go. I got some Pat Benatar albums in my collection, and now if I do some more ladies of the 80s type things, I will have Pat Benatar albums that I can reference. I don't put albums in countdowns and rankings and things if I don't own them. And that's plain and simple. So I don't talk about artists that I don't own. I have to own the albums in CDs and on vinyl or whatever before it's going to make it into one of those things. And I know maybe you guys are saying, well, that's crazy that you didn't own any Pat Benatar, but just that's the reality of it. So if I don't own it, I'm not talking about it. All right, now I also made a trip to my local record store, this one Downtown Music Gallery, located at 13 Monroe Street down in the Chinatown area, Lower Manhattan. And I found a couple cool things there. So Gentle Giant, Civilian, 1980 album from them, very hard to come by on One Way Records. Super excited about that one. That one was kind of the big find. But I also found this one, A Gentle Giant, The Power and the Glory from 1974. And this is the one I found first. And then luckily, one of the guys that works there saw me and said, hey, are you interested in this? And this one's the real one I would take out of the two if I was only going to get one of them. But another really cool find that I made digging through all the boxes, and I would always say, you know, if you're in record stores, look at that understock, the stuff that's tucked in under the racks and so forth. You know, ask permission, but if they'll let you dig through it, go through it. I found this, Bang, self-titled second album, really great 1972 hard rock, sort of like a hard rock Black Sabbath almost in terms of its sound, but a hard rock version, an American band. This stuff is so hard to come by, and I couldn't believe it. 10 bucks, got it, so I was super excited about that. Now, tomorrow I'm going to be posting another episode of Let's Go to the Record Store that will experience all of this from Downtown Music Gallery. So that's why I'm not spending too much time talking about this, because you're going to get to see a whole experience video of going down there, visiting the record store and everything. So keep an eye out for that. Tune in tomorrow and you can see that. And there you go. That is 8 new music finds for you as part of this episode number 50 of New Music Finds. And do check back every Wednesday for brand new episodes. And certainly if you've enjoyed this video, consider sharing it out on social media. I would greatly appreciate it. Consider sharing any of my videos out on social media. Trying to build the subscriber base, the crowd, everyone, the interaction that we do here, building that communication and that discussion that we're doing on this channel. So that's why I make those kind of comments and mention those sort of things at the ends of all of my videos. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. Take care, have a great one, and I'll talk to you all real soon. Bye-bye.